Hi and welcome to the podcast. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Instagram as Skein and on Ravelry as K10, that's K10. Hope you're all doing really well. I am back at home today at the front of my house, as you can see. Yeah, I had a very nice quiet week this week at the studio, so I'm taking Thursday and Friday off. Well, kind of off. I'm working from home. Yeah, it's good to see you. So I missed speaking to you guys last week because we have quarterly taxes that need to be done, and I am terrible at doing my bookwork. I always leave it to the very last minute, and yeah, it means I have to sit there for a couple of days and go through all of our accounting. So yeah, that's what I did last week, and I just ran out of time and couldn't get a podcast up, which was a bit of a shame. But yes, anyway, back this week. I will apologize. I might be blowing my nose and wiping my eyes because I have really bad allergies. It's always this time of year in autumn that yeah, I get really badly affected. It's always autumn's the worst, and then spring, and usually winter. Once winter hits, I'm okay, but yeah, it's really awful. Sorry, I'm gonna have to wipe my nose. So yeah, hope you're all doing really well. Anyway, now I have a finished object to share with you, which is what I'm wearing. This is the Rift Tee by Jacqueline, I think it's Cieslak or Cieslak. She has a really good video actually with Christy Glass, an interview that she did with Christy Glass, and she actually pronounces her name. I meant to watch it to listen to it. I'm pretty sure it's Cieslak actually, now that I say it. But anyway, this is the Rift Tee. It's one of her very popular patterns. I think actually it was her first pattern garment that she came out with, and it was a massive hit. I have modified this pattern quite a lot, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but just to talk to you about the pattern first. It is a cropped, I'll put a picture in, it's a cropped tee. There's lots and lots of variations that you can do. You can do a V-neck, a boat neck, long sleeve, short sleeved. She has a calculator, well, sort of like where you punch numbers in the pattern for bicep adjustment. So if your biceps are larger than what's written on the schematic for your size, you can change that. It's very, it's a great pattern. There's lots and lots of information. Would I recommend this to a beginner? Probably not a beginner, but an advanced beginner. There are a few things that you do in there, like short rows and things that might be a bit baffling for beginners. But yeah, if you've done a bit of knitting, then you should be fine with this. It's actually quite an easy bottom-up top. There are a few details in it that I really liked. For instance, this side section here, I love, the split hem is fantastic, but I really like how she's continued the twisted rib up the side of the t-shirt, and underneath the arm there is an arm gusset. So I've never done one of those before, and it was really interesting. So your underarm, I should say, isn't actually shaped like a complete, it's a blunt edge, which is what you normally knit. You normally knit to the arm, you cast on or bind off stitches that go straight across, and then you either go up or down. With this pattern, you do a little gusset, so it's like a sock pattern where you're picking up stitches along the side of the armhole, and it sort of forms, well, it's sort of square, and then it goes out like that. So it's sort of like a V shape with a blunt little area in the middle. So it actually replicates the shape of your underarm. So that was very clever. I really enjoyed knitting that, and it actually feels very comfortable. It gives you a little bit more room under there. Yeah. So I knit this with the John Arbon / Viola DK, which I spoke about already in a previous episode. The colourway is Unpredictable. It's beautiful. There are little, as you can see, specks of colour, and I'm pretty sure what she's done, this is Viola, is taken coloured roving and spun it all together along with like a neutral colour, and it sort of come out like, if you stand back and look at it, it just kind of looks like an oatmeal-y colour, but if you have a look closely you can see all these little flecks of colour throughout it, and it's beautiful. This yarn, like I said before, has been in my stash for a very, very long time, so to actually be able to knit it and wear it it's like about time, because I love this yarn so much. It is a 100% merino. It was very lofty, beautiful to knit with. I loved it. So I only had 2 skeins of this DK, and the pattern actually calls for sport, and I'm pretty sure it was 2 skeins of sport, but that's for a cropped tee, so the actual pattern itself is quite cropped. I wanted to lengthen the body quite substantially because I think the pattern itself, the tee, I mean, you can wear it with whatever you want to, but the way that Jacqueline styled it is with a dress, and then so you have the little tee over the dress. I'm not really a dress wearer. I love jeans, particularly in winter and autumn, so I wanted to put a bit of length on the top, and to do that with 2 skeins of DK it wouldn't have been possible if I had have knit it in the size that it was. So there is a lot of ease. The body would have been quite wide. Obviously you need to use a lot more yarn. I probably would have only have gotten up to the separating the armholes, or the body and the top part, and that would have been it. I would have run out of yarn, so I had to come up with a way of trying to alter the pattern to use the 2 skeins that I had. So the first thing I did was I did a small gauge swatch in using the needles that she uses for the pattern, and I worked out with that gauge that I would have 1 to 2 inches of ease, mainly 1, I think it was like 1.5 inches of ease around the bust. So I thought that that would work out well if I could somehow get the body longer and have a more fitted top, then it should work out that I would have enough yarn, and luckily I did. I had a very, very small amount left over. So the other alteration I did is, so I knit the boat neck version, and as you can see this isn't boat neck. I knew when I was knitting this that the gauge, because it had changed, that the neck would be a lot smaller, but what ended up happening was it was sort of a weird length. Like the boat neck is actually quite, on the pattern itself, it's quite a wide neck. Mine sort of, I don't know, came up to about here, and it stuck out a little bit weird. And also I think because I used a DK which is heavier, the actual, so you do short rows when you get up the top to shape the shoulders and the neck, and there is no space between the short rows and the end of the pattern, like the neck. So you could actually see where all the short rows were turned and were done, just up here. And for some reason it pushed the neck up. So basically the pattern itself, there is no finishing for the neck. You just knit up, you do the short rows. I think you might pick up the stitches and then bind them straight off. And it just didn't look right. And that's because I modified the pattern. It's got nothing to do with the pattern, it's just because I changed it. So then I decided to cinch the neck in because I didn't like it, the length that it was. It looked a bit odd. So I picked up less stitches and then I did a 3 needle, no, not a 3 needle bind off, a I-cord, a 3-stitch I-cord. And you can see the I-cord there, finish it off nicely, and it kind of disguises these little short rowy areas around the neck. So yes, overall I love this top so much. It fits like so well. It's so nice. It's perfect for this time of year when it's verging on cold. I mean, mornings and nights are cold, days are usually quite warm still, so this is perfect. I mean, if you need to put something over this you can, and then you can kind of take layers off as you need to. But yeah, I love it. I love the exposed seam and the sleeves. It's perfect. It's a great pattern, and I will definitely be knitting another one. I'd actually really like to knit the V-neck version in a sport weight yarn, and probably do a more cropped version for summer at some point. So yeah, that was that. This really only took me, I want to say, maybe a week to knit on. So yeah, I think maybe a little bit longer than a week, because I finished it last week. I can't think. It wouldn't have been longer than a week and a half. And that was knitting pretty much mainly on this. But yeah, it was fantastic. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm so glad that I get to finally wear this yarn because it's beautiful. Now, on to my next whip. This is the Cruiser Cardigan, which is the new design that I bought out a couple of weeks ago. I'm knitting a version for myself. Of course, the original will be the sample. And I've actually done quite a lot on this. That's it there. So basically it's a batwing shaped cardigan. It's meant to have a bomber kind of jacket shape with the very basic front, quite baggy, quite relaxed, sort of, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but just a very basic sort of cardigan with a bomber shape. So that's it there. I'm now onto the body. I'm just decreasing along the batwing sleeve / body area. And I don't have that long to go. I only have a few more decreases and then I start doing the rib. And once the ribbing's done, it's very simple. You just pick up for the sleeve cuffs and the neck, and that's it. It's all done. So yeah, fun. I'm using the Uptown sock. I'm just trying to think. I hope I have more yarn. Yes, I do. I've got another skein. Uptown sock in the what's it called? Milky Way colourway, which is just neutral with a hell of a lot of speckles. And then this is the Mohair, so they're both knitted together in Typo, and it's just a basic grey. So these two equal that, and it's really nice. I like how it's knitting up, sort of, it's toned down the speckles, the dark greys tone down the speckles. I mean, you can still see them, but it sort of looks a little bit mild when you look at it from afar. Anyway, I can't wait to finish it. And hopefully this will be ready for when we do get cold weather. For like that 1 week of the year. No, I'm just joking. It's cold for about 1 month and then it gets back to being bearable again. So that's that. The other thing that I cast on was a new design. So last year I went to Bendigo and I bought some yarn from Purl, which is Katrina, who's in Newcastle. She's a hand dyer, but her what she does is she buys yarn from local, and when I say local I kind of mean Australian sheep growers, and then she dyes it. So it's not commercial, well, not, I wouldn't say commercial yarn, but it's not like what indie dyers buy from suppliers or mills. She actually buys it from the farm and then dyes it. Anyway, I had a really good talk to her. She came to see me, I went to see her at her booth, and then she talked me through all the yarn that she had bought and where she got it from, and it was really interesting. And I bought quite a few skeins from her. I bought this, which I don't have a lot to show you. This is her base called Blackbeard, and it's a Polworth and silk. I'm pretty sure it's 90% Polworth, 10% silk. And it's stunning. It's very soft, but it has that lovely loose ply, natural sort of feel. It's really lovely yarn to work with. So I really wanted to knit something. I also wanted to join in on the Rose Hip podcast. She has a knit along going using Australian yarns. I think it's Australian and New Zealand yarns. So I went stash diving and I pulled out this yarn, and I had 2 skeins of this and 1 skein of the lighter colour. And I was looking online on Ravelry. Actually, last time I spoke to you, I think I said this was a sport, which is completely wrong. It's a fingering weight. Anyway, I looked at Ravelry. I was searching patterns. I had my exact idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a colour block top with the light on the top, the dark on the bottom, just something very basic, a little T. So I was like specifically looking for something and I could not find what I wanted. So in the end I just did a swatch and then cast on a new design. So this is what I've come up with, and I've knitted on this a lot. It's almost finished. Let's see if I can stand up. So yeah, it's just a very basic top-down tee with, as you can see there, the colour block. Basically the top is knit and then you bind off the top part and then you pick up stitches for the bottom, so it leaves this nice kind of, what do you call it, exposed seam detail along the back and front. I did quite a few short rows to shape the shoulders, because when you're doing, I have found anyway, when I do designs like this where you're knitting from the top, you start on the back and then you knit down and then you pick up along the shoulder tops and then you knit down. If you don't do short rows on the back and the front, it doesn't kind of sit properly. It feels a bit weird. It doesn't sit on your shoulders because obviously your shoulders slant a little bit. So actually doing short rows on the top of the shoulders makes it fit much nicer, and it does, it fits beautifully. So you can probably see the short rows there, just these little lines here, same on the back. Whoops. Yeah, and the neck is just, I'm leaving it like that, it's just a little rolled neck. And then the sleeves, the actual body itself, I did quite an extended length for the top of the body, so it will cover most of your arm like a sleeve. And then I just did a tiny little sleeve, picked up knit, I think it's like 2 inches, and then did an inch worth of ribbing. And then all I have to do is the other side, and then it's done. And I am going to release this pattern. I need to contact Katrina to let her know that I've done this, and hopefully she'll have some yarn if people are interested. And I highly recommend going and having a look at her shop. I actually did go, before I did this podcast, to her website and had a look to see if she had the Blackbeard, and she's got stacks of it in her shop, so I'm going to put a link down below, and I highly recommend trying it. It is just the most stunning yarn. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful, and I absolutely love this colour, which I'm pretty sure, did I bring the, did I bring anything down? Yeah, I did. It's called Hard Candy Collection, and it's shade number 18. So I don't know if she still has that in the shop, but look at that. It's just beautiful. I just love it. And that combined with the dark grey, it's just, I don't know, it's so classic. I love it. So classic and classy. I'm very, very happy with this. Of course, I will be knitting one in Skein yarn too, because I'll be releasing both types at the same time. So both, I want to show it in her yarn and I want to show it in our yarn as well. So both versions will be released at the same time. So my version, because her beautiful yarn, she does dye lots of different colours too, but I just love the natural look of this. I went for a bit more of a colourful look with our yarn. So this is it. This is Iced Bobo and this is Pure Gold. So that's exactly how I'm going to have it. The pink up the top and the gold down the bottom. So yeah, just something a bit different. This base is our Daintree base, and I was looking at the yardage and the weight of the Blackbeard base and then trying to find an equivalent for ours, and the Daintree was the closest. I think they're almost exactly the same weight and yardage. The only thing is, this is Polworth and silk, and the ply is a lot looser, it's lofty, it's very light. This Daintree ply, it's a bamboo, merino bamboo and silk, so it is a lot more drapey and silky than the Pirate Pearls yarn. So it's going to be interesting to see the difference, how they're going to knit up. I think drape wise there will definitely be a difference. This will be a lot more drapey than this, but other than that I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of difference. Anyway, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the neck works, because the neck on this one has folded over quite nicely. I don't know whether the Daintree will do that or whether I'll have to add a finishing on the neck, but anyway, we shall see. Yeah, I think that was everything I had to talk about. I feel like I've just like raced through it. Yeah, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed using another dyer's yarn. It's really hard when you have your own hand-dyed business to, like, you want to use people's yarns, but then you think, well, I need to show what my yarn can do, and if I'm knitting with somebody else's, then I'm missing out showing what my yarn can do. It's really hard, and you don't want to feel like you're just kind of promoting your stuff all the time. So to actually be able to do not only a project but a design in another dyer's yarn was just so much fun, and I'm going to be doing more of this. It's also good too because I can have fun and enjoy knitting with someone else's yarn, and come up with designs and then try and find an equivalent using our yarn, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. And I really like the challenge too, because I had 3 skeins of it, like I said. I had 2 of the grey, 1 of the lighter neutral, and it was like trying to work out how I was going to put them together in a design using only those skeins, because the beauty of having my own yarn company is that if I run out of yarn, I just go and dye another batch. Like, it's not that difficult, but when you only got what you've got, then you just got to make sure that you don't overuse it and run out of yarn. So that was really challenging. I really enjoyed it. Also, what I found was interesting too was this is only 2 skeins of yarn. I still have, like, so that bottom section, I have maybe a quarter of a skein left, and the top section I have quite a lot of that left, and I'll definitely be able to get a small little sleeve out of that. So that's quite interesting. I guess maybe because I colour blocked it, it sort of used less yarn, and also the body is quite cropped. So there you go. That's it really. So I hope you're doing really well. Oh, I must say, the giveaway for last week, or the last episode, was a Ilovehandles bracelet, a ruler bracelet. So it was really cool. If you left a comment, thank you very much. I've been so busy, I haven't actually been able to go through the comments as much as I wanted to this week. I will, after I put this up, I'm going to go and have a look at them. So thank you for leaving your comments. It's really nice, and I love reading them, and I will put the winner here. So if you are the winner, please contact me and we will talk about the size of the bracelet, because there's 3 different sizes and what colour you want and all that, and I'll organise that to be sent to you. So hope you're all doing really well. I do have a question for this week, but I don't have a prize, but I would love to know what current designs has got your attention. I am trying to look for a pattern to knit for this month, which is, I don't actually talk about this much on the podcast, but we're running a year-long 2020 Knit All the Colours knit along. So each month has been assigned a colour. We're in May, and that is a red purple. So I'm trying to think of something to knit using a red purple. So if you've got any suggestions, please let me know. I'd love to know shawls or tops, cardigans, whatever's, you've seen that has caught your eye that you really love. I would like to hear about it so I can get some suggestions. So yes, keep well everybody. Oh, and I must mention too, gosh, it's all over the shop today. This week, if you're interested, I know I've had a lot of people contact me for the shop. They're really keen to get their hands on some sport weight yarn. And actually that's cool, because this is sport weight. This is the pattern. The Rift Tee is a good one for sport. This week, tomorrow, Friday, I'm actually putting up custom dye orders, a listing for custom dye. So you can order sport weight yarn on any colour you want. And I'm going to be dyeing them up next week, so they'll ship really quickly. They will ship the following week. So if you're after some sport weight yarn, keep an eye out tomorrow on the shop. I also have our new coastal yarn, which is the cotton and merino 50-50% blend. That's going in the shop tomorrow, and they're actually available in the shop to buy. They won't be custom ordered. And talking about yarns, this COVID-19 has completely halted shipping. I'm having a really hard time getting anything in and anything shipped, so I don't know what's going to happen. I think I have one lot of yarn arriving, hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow, so I'm going to have to go to work and wait and hope that it arrives. But yeah, it's been really hard getting anything in, which, that's the way it goes. And of course, Australia being so far away, and we have grounded a lot of our airplanes and nothing's really moving, it's like no wonder. But yeah, when you have a business and you're relying on supplies coming in, yeah, it's hard. Anyway, It's sort of slowly trickling in, so that's good. I think I'm going to be putting up a lot of custom dye because it's probably easier to do it that way. Anyway, that is it. So hope you're all doing really well, and I will speak to you next week, and take care and happy knitting. Speak to you next week. Bye.